If you work your truck hard or you live in a harsh climate but you still want the benefits of power side steps without having to worry about them, then the Research POWERSTEP XTreme running boards are for you. These have it all: good looks, capability, flexibility, durability, and a great wow factor. That makes them about the perfect way to get some extra access and protection for your 2021 and newer F-150 with essentially no sacrifice. We talk about a lot of side steps around these parts, but the POWERSTEP XTreme take all the good stuff Research usually includes, but it kicks things up another notch. These are, of course, a power step. They're designed to deploy the moment you open the door, and it's a cool party trick. The benefit to a power step like these is twofold. When they're extended, they drop much lower than a traditional fixed side step, meaning that you have better access to the cabin of your truck. And when they're retracted, they are almost invisible. Since they sit up closer to the rocker panels, that's going to help maintain your ground clearance, and it gives the truck a super clean look. Since nothing is hanging down low in a fixed position like a more traditional side step or running board, having these on has almost no impact on your overall ground clearance or your breakover angle. So if you do some more challenging off-roading or overlanding, there's less of a chance of these getting snagged on something, and they're going to provide your rocker panel with similar protection to a smaller side step or even a rock slider. Like I mentioned before, they deploy almost immediately upon opening the door. By the time you've got it opened even a small amount, the boards are down in their lowered position, dropping about 13.5 inches from the body of the truck. And when you close the door, they stay down for 3 seconds before retracting. Now, if you want additional control over these, there is actually a manual override switch that you can get that allows you to manually control the boards whenever you want. There's also an anti-pinch feature built in, so these won't accidentally crush your feet, and if they open and hit an obstacle, they will stop dead instead of running the motors out. And there's a few more party tricks up their sleeves. The steps feature a 600-pound weight capacity, so they can handle pretty much anything you could think to throw at them. They also feature integrated LEDs. These just end up wiring right into the wiring harness, and these are going to help illuminate the ground and the stepping surface, making for safe and easy access to your truck no matter what conditions you may encounter. And the best part, these are designed for extreme duty, hence that part of the name. And the big key to that is that they include 2 motors per board, as opposed to the typical 1 motor per board of the standard amp power steps. That means if you're out in a very cold climate, you get them caked in mud or whatever else, there's more than enough power to lower or raise or deploy the boards in any condition. And the wide step surface with the textured grip here mean that you will be able to get a foothold on these even if it's really slippery outside. The steps are constructed using die-cast aluminum, which is anodized and then finished off with a military-grade PTFE coating. The step surface is a massive 6 inches wide, and it features that textured black powder coating for extra grip as well. Plus, you've got these LEDs for extra visibility, and you get all the brackets, the wiring, and the motors included. Again, these feature that 2 motor per board setup, so I've got an example of these brackets right here. As you can see, both of them have spots for motors. That means there is a bit of redundancy built in, which is nice to see. If one motor fails, you'll still be able to deploy or retract the steps on that side should you need to. Plus, they come with a complete wiring harness that's pretty much ready to go, making installation very simple, and they come with a 5-year limited warranty for some added peace of mind. Pricing is about the only place where you should plan on sacrificing anything. Coming in at about $2,400, these definitely command a premium price, but they are also definitely a premium option. And in my book, if you've got the room in your budget to get these, I think they will make a great addition to your build. They give you plenty of flexibility, they are super tough, and they do everything that you want a sidestep to do, and then some. And really, you're not paying all that much more than a standard set of power boards. Installation is going to get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 3 hours to complete. While the boards bolt right onto your truck without modification, there is a bit of wiring involved for the lights and the control module. It's definitely a job you can accomplish at home though, and we're going to walk you through the process step by step right now. So for that, let's head on out to the shop.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, wire strippers and crimpers, scissors or diagonal cutters, 13mm wrench, 10, 11, and 13mm sockets, T25 Torx socket, 3/16 Allen socket, and some zip ties. What's up guys? Today we're installing side steps on our F-150, so let's get started. So the first thing I've done is laid out my wire harness across the engine bay, how it's gonna go. Now there's a shorter side and a longer side. The shorter side is gonna be for the passenger side, the longer side is gonna go over to the driver's side. So I'm gonna start with hooking up my battery terminal connectors. Before I do that, I'm gonna pop the cover off on our inline fuse, and I'm gonna pop that out for now. Then we'll put that back in towards the end. So now I'm gonna pop the cover off of my positive terminal, and I'm gonna grab an 11mm socket to remove this nut, and then I'll slide my terminal connector on top of that stud. Pop that on, thread the nut back on, and tighten it back down. Then for the negative, I'm going to switch to a 10mm socket to remove this nut. And then tighten it back down. So now we're going to plug in our module to the two connectors that are right off of our two battery terminal connectors. So we're just going to line these up, press them in. You got to really press on these to get them to go in. And then once you have those plugged in, I've got this perfect spot to tuck it into my battery box right back here. Keep that out of the way. So now I'm going to take my passenger side wire harness and I'm going to run it right down here, right by the suspension down towards the ground so that we can hook it up to our motors. And then I'm going to take the side that's running over to the driver's side and I'm going to tie it along the cowl here. I'm going to run a zip tie through all the clips, get it over there, and we'll drop it down to the floor the same way we did over here. So now I'm just going to take my zip tie, I've got a bunch included in this kit. I'm going to run it through that clip on the cowl, run my wire through the zip tie, and then I'm just going to run this straight up here so that it's as out of the way as possible. Tighten down your zip tie and then take scissors or diagonal cutters to cut off the excess. And then you can just do as many of these as you want across the cowl. Now you don't have to run it exactly this way. If you have a different way you want to run it, just make sure it's not by anything that it's going to get pinched by or anything hot. Now once I'm over to the other side, I'm going to take the end of my harness and I'm going to run it behind our brake master cylinder. And then from here, we can run it right down in front of the ABS module, down to the ground. So now we're going to hop underneath the truck. We're on the driver's side, right behind the front tire. You're going to find this grommet at the bottom of the body. Now you can take a razor blade and make a slice through here so that you can feed your wires through. For demonstration purposes, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to push it through and then just push my wires through. So just push that up and out of place. And then I'm going to feed my wires through. And then we'll hop inside the truck, pull up the carpet and grab those wires. So now we're going to pop open our driver's door and we need to pop off our little kick panel. So you can just kind of get under it and pop those clips out. And then with that out of the way, we can lift up on our carpet, find our purple wires, pull those through, and then I'm going to tuck it under the panel with the hood release. And then once we have those pulled through, we can pop that panel right back into place. So now we have to go up under the dash and pop out a module. Now this is about here. If you're looking at it from the dashboard, it's going to be impossible to get a camera angle on. So I'm going to pop it out and then I'm going to show you how to do it. So this is our module. We have a silver bracket that this clips into using this right here. So all you're going to do is find this module, press in on this tab and just pull it straight down and it'll release itself from that bracket. So now I'm just going to press in on the tabs on my connectors and disconnect those. And then we can get our OBD2 connector and wire into that black plug. So now we're going to come to our black connector. We've got two wires that we need to slice into. Now one of them is going to be the white wire with the green stripe, and the other is going to be the green wire with the blue stripe. Now on each of these, we have two wires. So on the white and green, there's two of those white and green that go to the same pin. You can slice into either one of those two wires. Same thing goes for the green and blue. We've got two of them coming together and they both go into the same pin, so you can cut into either of those. So we have these posi taps. You've got a black side and a red side. The black side is going to be the one that we're mounting to our connector wire. So we're going to unscrew that. There's a little slot in there that's going to wrap around the wire. And then you've got like a little needle in here that once you screw that back in, that's going to cut into the wire to make your connection. So I'm going to take one of those around one of my white and green wires. And then I'm going to screw in the other side. And then just screw that on as tight as you can get it. And then we'll do that same thing on our green and blue. And now we're going to remove these red caps. Now at this point you can grab your OBD connector. We've got two purple wires coming off of it that are going to wire into the purple wires that we ran up through the floor under the carpet. And then we've got our green and blue that are going to be going into these two posi tap connectors. So now the white wire on our OBD connector is going to go to the green wire with the blue stripe. So I'm going to take the other end of my posi tap. This one has a hole in it. I'm going to slide that over my wire. And then I'm going to connect that in. Give it a tug, make sure it's in there nice and tight. And then you can grab the blue wire, slide the other side of your posi tap over it. And then we're going to be threading this one into the white wire with the green stripe. Once again, give it a tug, make sure it's on there nice and tight. And then we can connect our purple wires. Now on one of the purple wires there's a black stripe. It's going to be the same on the ones coming up through the floor. So we're just going to match those up and we're going to use butt connectors to install these. So the two wires that are coming up from the floor, we need to strip back some lead on. So just get wire cutters. Slice off your lead and then we're going to twist this up. Then I'm gonna grab my purple wire. This is the one with the black stripe. I'm gonna do that one first. Twist up the lead, slide a butt connector on there, and then take wire crimpers to crimp down on it. Then we're gonna grab the wires from the floor. This one's got the black stripe. Twist up the lead, slide it into the other side of that butt connector. And then we're gonna crimp down on that side. Give it a tug, make sure it's in there nice and tight. And then we're just gonna do that same exact thing for our solid purple wires. And that crimp didn't succeed, so I'm gonna get another butt connector, try that again. That time it's on there good. So now they're on there nice and tight. So I'm gonna grab my module, plug that in, we can slide that up, and then we'll tuck these wires, plug in our OBD2 connector. So now I'm gonna reconnect my module. You've got a gray plug and a black plug, and they're also color coded on the module. So don't switch those two around. And now again, I'm gonna go up underneath of the dash. I'm gonna slide that bracket into these two sides, and I'm gonna push it in until this clip engages. Make sure that it engages so it doesn't slide back down. And I heard that clip engage, so that's in there nice and tight. So now I'm gonna grab my OBD2 connector and plug it into my port. And then all of my excess wires I'm gonna tuck up behind this panel. Keep it nice and neat, out of the way and away from our pedals. And now we can move on to installing our side steps. So next up, we're gonna mount our motors to our linkages. Now this is the orientation they're gonna be in. It's gonna be away from the part that swings down, this metal piece. Then we have our 3 screws that we're gonna be running in. Now we have tape on here to hold the cover down. This is going on top of that cover. So you can peel that tape off. And then lay your motor down. Now we're gonna want this fully closed. We've got our gear in here. That's gonna meet up with this gear. So drop it in. If you need to get it to align, you can pull this out a little bit, just like that, and it will rotate that gear, but only go slightly. So we'll get it in there. We'll drop in our 3 screws. And then we're gonna take a T25 torque socket to run these in. Now you're tightening into plastic, and these screws are cutting threads, so don't hammer on it if you're using an electric ratchet. Now do that same thing for your other 3 motors and linkages, and then we'll get these on the truck. So now I'm gonna install my linkage up here. First thing we're gonna do is zip tie this harness up out of the way. Now we've got this harness running down half of our frame, so I'm gonna zip tie to that. Just run it up behind that harness. Connect the zip tie. Cut off the excess. And then I'm gonna take my linkage. I'm just gonna plug in my motor while I'm here. Press that in, and then we've got this red locking tab that we need to press in to lock it into place. And then we're just gonna come to our first set of studs behind the front wheel. Slide that onto those studs. And then we've got 3 nuts included in the kit, thread onto those. Now I need to slide it out for this one over here by our motor. And then we've got our one up top. Now you can get a 13mm socket for the easy to get to ones. Over here, we've got no room with our motor there, so we're gonna have to get a wrench on there. And then I just got a 13mm wrench, tighten up this one. I'm gonna try to spin it on by hand as far as I can. And now repeat that process for your rear. So now I'm just gonna neatly run my wire harness all the way back to where my back motor is gonna sit. So I'm gonna go up behind the body mount here with my connector, as well as the wires for my lights. I'm gonna pull that through, and then I'm just gonna throw a zip tie over here around this wire harness. And then I'm going to run a zip tie through this clip for our brake lines. I'm not tying this to the actual brake line, just to the clip that holds them in. Trim off your excess, and then you can repeat the same process for mounting your motor and linkage on the rear. Next we can move on to wiring up our lights. Now we just got a simple red to red, black to black. Now it is recommended that you drill a hole through your pinch weld. That way you can mount your light up here and you'll have a hole where you can pass your wires through so you don't have to wrap around here. They even give you a grommet included in the kit so that you can run your wires through it and have that seal up that gap. Now for demonstration purposes, I'm not going to be drilling any holes through the pinch weld. So I'm just gonna have them kind of running around like this. So we'll pull the little caps off. On the harness side, we're gonna have to strip back some lead. So grab your wire strippers, strip that off. Twist up your lead. Do the same thing on your light. And then I'm going to grab butt connectors and crimp those on. Make sure it's on there tight. Do the same thing on my black. And then we're just going red to red, black to black. Slide your wire in, crimp it down. Do the tud. Make sure they're both on there nice and tight. And then you can peel that double-sided tape backing and stick it down where you want it. And then once that's stuck down, I'm just gonna clean up my wires. So we can just go ahead and zip tie that up to the harness up above. And then cut off the excess of that zip tie. Now you can repeat that same process for the light on the front, and then you can repeat the whole process on the other side. So now we're at the point where we're ready to mount our side steps to our linkages. Now to make that a little bit easier, I'm gonna lower down our linkages. So to do that, I'm gonna hop back in the engine bay. I'm gonna replace that inline fuse. Now all the motors are up right now, so make sure all of your doors are closed before you put the fuse back in. Press that into place, close it up. Now you've got a couple options. If you're outside where it's windy or you think that door might shut, I would open up the door to drop the linkages down and then pull your inline fuse back out. That'll completely guarantee that they won't go back up on you while you're mounting your step. If you're doing this in a garage and you can have your door open without any risk of it shutting, then you're perfectly fine to just open the door and install your side step. So now we can open our door to drop these linkages. And then now if you want to, you can open that up. You can go back to the engine bay, pull that inline fuse back out, so that'll shut power off going to the motors. I'm just gonna leave this open. I don't have anything that's gonna bump this. So I'll lay my side step on top and install my bolts. So now the way our side steps are gonna mount is we have this silver threaded piece that's gonna sit in the center hole in your bracket. And then we've got two holes at the bottom that we're gonna be running our Allen bolts into. So lift this up, get it on your bracket, adjust it left to right to get it centered, and then make sure those are in those holes and you can press them down and then run your bolts in. So I'm gonna lift this up onto the brackets. It looks pretty good where it's at. So I'm just gonna rotate this up, line up that bracket with my hole. I'll do the same thing down on the other one. Now I'm going to take my Allen bolts. I'm just going to get my threads started and then I'm going to line up the other side. And now we can take our 3/16 Allen socket and tighten those down. Do the same thing on your front linkage and then you can repeat that process on the other side. So now if you just prop your door open, you're good to go. You can shut this up and your step will retract. If you pulled out that inline fuse, remember that you did that with the door open. So when you put that fuse back, make sure the door is open and then you can just shut it and they'll come right up. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Research POWERSTEP XTreme running boards for your 2021 and newer F-150. Thanks for watching, and for all things F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.